Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome back to the Inform Podcast. 6 winners 2 weeks ago in our weekend preview. 5 winners on the weekend preview, including Diego Velazquez, who was tipped up at 25-1. To be fair, there was a significant rule for double figure price winners for George Gorman as well. You are welcome to the Final Furlong Podcast as we preview the best racing for the York Ebor Festival. I'm alongside Adam Mills, former jockey Georgia Cox, and former jockey George Gorman, the man who's in red hot form. We will break down all of the key races for you, beginning with what arguably is now the feature race of the meeting, the Juddmonte International, highest rated race in the world several times over the last few years, and some of the highest rated horses in the world are going to be lining up in it, including the horse who had that title after winning the Prince of Wales Stakes at Royal Ascot. Ombudsman was given a rating of 128 on the back of that performance. Some of us had a raised eyebrow for it. He then got eclipsed by Delacroix, who was the subject of a major drift in the betting. He went out to 6-1 from 6-4. Well done to you if you took that. He is the only runner for Coolmore after a fake gamble on Whirl. 15 days is the best price about him. Danon Decile, the Japanese horse whose name I've just butchered the pronunciation of. Adam Mills has got a lot to say about him. 9-2. See the Fire, whose mother won this race. Her father won the race as well. She's literally bred for the job. 9-1. Daryz, the unbeaten French rider, for the same connections as last year's runner-up Calandigan, 11-1. And then another French rider, but the pacemaker, who's been intriguingly supplemented on the behalf of Godolphin to benefit Ombudsman, but runs for André Fabre. We've already seen a pacemaker in similar circumstances win a big Group 1. It can't happen again, can it? No, surely not. Burcastle, 100-1. French horse with an Irish name. Adam Mills, what is your thoughts on the Juddmonte International?
Okay, here we go. So I'll ignore the fact that you texted me last night and said, I think Delacroix out. You know, with all the surprise and all. Cheers for that, Mr. Kennedy.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus there. Appreciate it.
Oh, will do. Absolutely. I'm sure I'll be thrown under the bus for this. I can't buy Ombudsman. I think that rating is wrong. I think the race at Ascot completely fell apart. You have to look how Los Angeles ran this weekend to show you that form's weird. But then if I think Ombudsman's form is weird, surely I've got to also think that it's weird that Delacroix managed to beat him despite being incredibly keen behind the pace and everything going wrong in the eclipse seemingly, and he still won. So I'm going to take them both on. If Daryz wins, I'm going to get egg on my face, but I am not convinced by him because every race he's run in France has been really slowly run, finishing percentages over 110%, and he's won the sprint. The fact that Godolphin put a pacemaker in, the fact that you've got the Japanese horse in here, there's going to be pace. This is going to be truly run. He might be Calandigan Mark II, but I'm not so convinced he's in that league yet. So I'm going to leave him. I'm going to back the Japanese horse. I think Danon Decile is the solid option here. I know what he's going to do. He went out in front in Maidan and he's beaten Calandigan. All right, Calandigan got his usual Mikel Barcelona, I'd find trouble in an empty paper bag ride, but to be fair, Danon Decile has gone really hard. He's set a good pace and he's held on quite comfortably in the end. Is this not just obvious? Calandigan is the best horse in Europe over a middle distance and Danon Decile's beaten him. So I'd much rather take 4-1, 9-2 Danon Decile than I would Ombudsman and Delacroix, whose form I don't think I can trust.
He comes into the race fresh, but he did win. He has done that before. It's a 133-day break, but he had a break of 60 days or more when he won in Dubai. There's other races that he's won in Japan where he's gone in and won fresh as well. But it is still a long way off Dubai. And I can't believe that the Calandigan who ran in the Dubai Shima Classic is the same Calandigan who won the King George. That was his seasonal debut.
No, I think that was the Calandigan. I think that's what Calandigan is. He's very consistent. He just has to have a certain setup and he will drive you absolutely bonkers because of the way he has to be ridden. But the Calandigan in the King George was probably only 2 or 3 pounds better than he ran in Dubai. All 3 of the final furlongs were sub 11 seconds from Calandigan in Dubai. He ran his usual rapid finish. He just Mikel Barcelona was too far back on the inside. I still think Danon Decile is just being massively overlooked. I think people are thinking Calandigan was an unlucky loser when actually I think Danon Decile just got them all at it.
Well, in 2023, he was beaten by Shin Emperor in a juvenile race, and then he improved past him to beat him in the Japanese Derby. He beat him again in the Dubai Shima Classic. And why that's relevant is that while he got lapped in the Arc, he was a really good third in a very strong running of the Irish Champion Stakes behind Auguste Rodin and the winner Economics. And he's already better than him. So if he can put in a better performance than Shin Emperor, who was third in one of the best 10 furlong Group 1 races in Europe last year, then he has a serious chance of winning this Group 1. For sure, Georgia, a lot of eyes are going to be on Ombudsman and Delacroix. Peter Michael is adamant that Ombudsman is going to turn this form around. The side bet continues, so leather jackets for whoever loses. That's going to be either George Gorman and Peter Michael, yet again having to do some ludicrous fancy dress on the podcast, or it's going to be leather jackets for Andy Newton and myself.
I never agreed to this.
No, you did. This is all agreed. It's done, and you're stuck.
You did not.
You're stuck. Okay, well, you better talk to Peter then, because he's given it large on the group this morning. He seems to have forgotten the fact that he hates William Buick, and he now needs William Buick to once again bail him out. I don't know what you're doing, son. Rating of 126 for Delacroix, rating of 127 for Ombudsman, Georgia. I am with Adam. I don't believe the Ombudsman performance from the Prince of Wales Stakes. It reminds me a little bit of Mostadaf. And while he backed that up in the Juddmonte International, he did it from the front in a small field race. That was a crazy pace collapse. And he came through last to be able to benefit from that. There's nowhere else in his form suggests that that's the horse he is. He improved, was £11 for that performance, even more than that. So what do you make of the front two? Is there any logical reason why Ombudsman would turn the form around with Delacroix?
I agree with everything. I would like to see Ombudsman do it again before I believe that rating, or that he's deserved of that rating. I think the most interesting thing is who overcomplicates the tactics more between John Gosden and Aidan O'Brien. I actually can't believe that Aidan's just letting John have a pacemaker and he hasn't put one in himself. But I mean, the races this year that have gone wrong with pacemakers are the Prince of Wales, the King George, the Sussex Stakes, and it's like they both just seem to overcomplicate it so much. But I do agree that the Japanese horse will take full advantage of the pacemaker. You know, he stays further. This is a step back. The connections don't see that as a problem at all. So I think that he'll use the pacemaker to his advantage. And 4 months off since the Shima Classic is a bit of a worry, but they're very confident. I'm also a bit conscious of the jockey. I think they've only ridden in England once before in the Sherwood Cup in 2017. But as luck, hopefully, like you said,
Did Maureen Haggis have anything to say about his riding style?
Well, no, but I'm sure he's very good in his country, but I just do think it is very different. I know York's a straight.
Oh, George has been taken out for her comments
About the Sherwood Cup.
How dare you express an opinion, Georgia, that doesn't conform to the narrative? How dare you? My good. Okay, we'll get her back. We'll get the technical team to work on it and get her back. It's a good point to make, though, George. I'm sure our good friend, close personal friend of the podcast, Archie Brooks, has given it large about how Danon Decile is going to win this race. I know I'm bouncing butchering the pronunciation. I apologize. But the jockey is a factor in this, for sure. And the Juvenile International, like some horses just don't take to York for one reason or another. That's a concern in my mind as well for a horse that's best priced 9-2 now, George.
Yeah, no, it's got to be a concern, hasn't it? I wouldn't worry about quite, like, obviously York seems to suit, in terms of horses, it seems to suit course winners and that, but no, I've never ridden there myself, but it can't be as hard to get the hang of as an Ascot or an Epsom or somewhere. Like, I'm happy to be told I'm wrong about that because I simply don't know. But yeah, it's the horse I'd be worried about is the Japanese horse. Like, it's not just the beating Calandigan. It's even if you were to take the view that Calandigan got a dreadful ride there, like Daryz actually ran, like we finished third that day, ran all right in this race last year. Rebels Romance, Javelotto, like it was a deep enough race. But I just hate you listeners of the pod and I hate trying to equate this Dubai form to English races because again, it doesn't stack up. What happens in the spring out there as to what happens in the summer out here. And that, together with the jockey and together with the step down in trip, is just enough for me to just leave that horse. And I wasn't with Delacroix for the Eclipse because I thought the sort of stiff mile 2 might find him out. I think it's a horse that's crying out for a more conventional track. Potentially, I think he'd win drop back to a mile. Like he's a fast horse and he's he's built very square. Like, he's not made for going uphill or downhill. He's made for just point and shoot. And I think this is going to be the closest we've had to that for him since before the Derby. So if I opposed him based on the fact that the track wasn't conventional enough at Sandown, I've got to be with him on this case. But obviously, I was wrong at Sandown, so that always makes it trickier. But I do think Ombudsman's rating is slightly overblown. Important point to make as well. Delacroix, because of winning at the Eclipse, gets £4 less here than he did from Ombudsman at Sandown. But I think the switch to a more conventional track will make that £4 difference up for him. So I'm going to be with Delacroix.
Okay, Delacroix is a really interesting one. We'll go back to you, Georgia. So jockey concerns aside, when Rebels Romance went to the front in Dubai, that meant the race became more of a speed favouring race. And so the drop back to 10 furlongs shouldn't be a problem for him. He has winning form over that. But he is stepping back in trip. He's going to be suited by a speed favouring race. I thought the tactics point that you made that was very interesting, because I made this point about a week ago, and I think Adam Mills wanted to start throwing water bottles at the camera. I was like, no, he's not going to do that. I have a sneaky feeling they're not going to hold up Delacroix in the way they did in the Eclipse. There's a sneaky feeling that Delacroix is going to go to the front, because in the Juddmonte International, you tend to want to be on the front end.
Yeah, I mean, the stats show at York, you do want to be on the front end. I don't know, was it his choice to be held up at Sandown?
No.
I felt like he jumped, got the position, and then sort of fell back.
Yeah. He also looked like he was disinterested once he didn't get to the lead in the first 2 furlongs. He seemed to sulk.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. He could go on. I am going to be with the Japanese horse. I think I interviewed Haggis this week, and he was saying to me about when he takes his horses abroad, they see it as an adventure. And the only time the Japanese horse has gone abroad so far, he won, and now he's in Newmarket, and he seems to, it brings about a bit of life in them, something different. And York will definitely be something different for him, from the lead up to everything, to what Japan is. And the French horse, I think Daryz, I mean, the last time there was a French winner was in 1987 with Tri-Pitch, but Baby, and they're only here for the conditions race. They said they didn't want to step him up and trip, and the ground might have gone on trials day. So I think they're here for more of the conditions, and I think they will be a bit much for him a bit soon. And I mean, See the Fire is the only one that's ran at York so far, I think, and she's obviously a course winner. And when will we start listening to the course form? Because I mean, there was Bob Ollinger at Cheltenham, there's Docklands at Ascot, and Kira at Goodwood. So if it comes down to that, that's the only way I could see her coming to the fore. But it's interesting. If there is a huge pace, then I could see Ombudsman coming for. Delacroix's got the best turn of foot, but I'm going to go with the Japanese.
Okay, See the Fire does have the perfect pedigree for this race. She's by one of the best, the second fastest winner in the race's history. That was only beaten last year by the great city of Troy. She's out of one of the biggest shock winners in this race in history as well, in Arabian Queen. How that horse won that. She never backed it up either, by the way. So how she won that day, don't know, but the connections were absolutely adamant that she would run a big race, and she did. She bounced back from a defeat in the Nassau Stakes a year ago to win at this meeting. Now, she beat Phantom Flight that day, so that form's way behind what's needed here. But they supplemented her for the Prince of Wales Stakes, and she ran well. She went first, and Ombudsman then came from off the pace, coming after she'd made her challenge. It's a 4-length gap that she has to bridge between him and her, but she will love the track. And that performance in the Middleton Stakes, for all that there's only one horse of significance to come out afterwards, that was Royal Dress, who won a listed race at Pontefract. It was still a devastatingly impressive performance, and I can imagine Oisin Murphy is relishing the prospect of partnering her. She's really interesting. Danon Decile, for all the reasons that both you and Adam have highlighted, is very intriguing as well, and Archie Brooks is someone we respect greatly. Laura Joy did a brilliant feature with the connections of the horse, and hopefully Laura will be back in the podcast soon as well. That's an EBN. Ombudsman is the third highest joint. There's 3 horses who have the title of the highest rated horse in the world. I have a real problem with this because sovereignty is nowhere near them, which just doesn't make any sense. But he's one of the 3. I don't buy it. personally. But if he goes and wins, then I've got egg on my face, and I'll just have to accept that. Delacroix got a beautiful pedigree. He's by Dubawi out of Tepin, a 6-time Group 1 winner. She produced Grateful to win a 1 mile 6 Group 1 last season. He was really, really good in the Eclipse. But if he loses interest in this race early on, that's going to be a problem. I don't quite know how he managed to have the turn of foot. Everything went wrong. He had a brief stumble. He's trying to get a gap. His stable companion, Camille Presario, is not letting him through. Ryan has to take him back and go 4 wide, and he still has the turn of foot to go and beat Ombudsman. So I don't see any logical reason why Ombudsman can beat him. But is this race going to pan out in the way that they want it to, and does he have to go forward? And he's a pretty short price as well. The one I ended up with was Daryz, who's by See the Stars. He's out of a Hong Kong Hong Kong Vase winner, a Group 1 Hong Kong Vase winner. He's unbeaten in 4 starts. He's bred to improve with racing and age. He's completely unexposed and represents the same connections who had Calandigan as runner-up in the race a year ago. And there's a fair bit in his favour, I would say. This has been his long-term target. Apparently he did a good piece of work last week. I hope Miguel Barcelona rides him prominently. He's done that a couple of times this season. You don't need to be doing show pony stuff, son. Go forward, or at least be in a prominent position. At 11-1 with a couple of firms, I'll take him. But this is a really, really interesting running of the Juddmonte International. Final selections. Adam, you're with the Japanese horse?
Yeah, definitely. One thing I would say, if you're worried about the jockey, I don't think he should be. He's been riding since 98. He's very experienced. Wikipedia has him at over 4,000 winners in Japan.
Can he do it in York on a Wednesday?
Well, he's had. I think he can. I don't worry about that when you think of the number of Group 1s he's ridden in, and think how competitive races like the Japan Cup are. And now all he's got is a small field at York. He'll be fine. Don't worry about that.
Okay. Japanese horse for Georgia?
Yeah, I'm going Japanese as well.
George, you're with Delacroix?
I am indeed, hence why I don't want this match bet.
I would say, okay, so you're out of that then, because that would make that would make absolutely zero sense, George, having to wear a leather jacket, being forced to side with a horse that he doesn't think can win the race. I think the most likely winner is Delacroix. I think the value bet is Daryz. He does need to prove himself in Group 1 company, and this is his first go at a Group 1. And he needs to not only take a big step forward past 1 or 2 horses, he needs to take a big step forward past 3 of the best horses in the world. Danon Decile on 125, Ombudsman on 127 is the highest rated, Delacroix on 126. It needs a big performance from him. But I think he's very intriguing, and he's the only horse that makes sense to me from the point of view of any bit of value in the race. So I'll take a chance on him. You can hear the race live on TalkSport 2 on Wednesday afternoon. We're live from 1 p.m. on Racing Live, and looking forward to you joining us as I present the coverage all week. We'll go to the 3 o'clock on the Wednesday. It's the Sky Bet Great Voltigeur Stakes, the Group 2. Last year, Aidan O'Brien won this for the first time with an Irish Derby winner in Los Angeles. He bids to do the same thing again with Lambourne. Delacroix is the only horse to beat this horse this season. He was second to him, and since then, he's been flawless. Won the Chester Vase, the Derby, and the Irish Derby, the form of which you can argue is good or not. The form of Cameron's performance from Royal Ascot has certainly been franked, with Further coming out and winning the Geoffrey Fear Stakes, doing a big favour for George Gorman. Scandinavia has come out and won the Goodwood Cup, doing a big favour for us in the process. Is he going to be able to cope with the drop back to a mile 4? We shall see. Pride of Aris needs a real rejuvenation. First time gelding up and a return to a track where he put in a career best performance in the Dante Stakes, but that form is absolute muck. And it takes a little bit of a creative mind to think the Pride of Aris is going to bounce back to winning form here. But hey, stranger things have happened, Adam Mills. Who are you with in the Great Voltigeur?
I think this is just, isn't this obvious that Lambourne just wins this? I think it's a 2-horse race. I can't be having Pride of Aris. You can't back horses that have finished 17th of 18 and 10th for 10, no matter what. If he wins, fair enough. But this looked a straight match to me between Lambourne and Karmas. Karmas was very good at Ascot, but there were 13 runners in that Queen's Vase, and the horse who ranked 13th for his top speed figure of 38.99 miles an hour was Karmas. He was well placed, and I think in a field like this, I just don't think he needs to be coming down in trip, and I just don't think he'll live with Lambourne. I think Lambourne will bounce out and he won't see a rival.
Okay, he does have a pedigree for the track. He's by Wooden Bassett, who won a juvenile race at York, and obviously his dam is by See the Stars, one of the best winners of the Juddmonte. But the reason he ran in the Queen's Vase, Georgia, is because he's slow, and Lambourne looked slow early on, but turns out he's actually quite fast, hence why he's a dual Derby winner. But is he going to be able to carry the penalty to victory here and follow in the footprints of Los Angeles?
Yeah, I agree with that, really. I think it is going to be pretty straightforward for Lambourne. I do like Paddy Toomey's horse, Karma's. I mean, he's obviously a very laid-back horse. He wears the blinkers. He looks genuine. The Queen Base was in a record time. You know, they had to rush to the first bend like they do, and he managed to get a good position. But they know that staying is his thing, as they were the first to send him on and make it a test of stamina. And I just think the small field won't really suit him. I think the hustle and bustle and the rough race at Ascot sort of got him going. And he'll probably just find Lambourne too good for him, but I still do like him as a horse going forward.
Even though he's just getting the £2, it's quite a gap. 107 to 120 in terms of ratings. Lambourne is just very progressive. So progressive, it seems like they do not want to run him in the St. Leger, for which he'd have a big chance, George, but well, they don't really need to worry about that. They've got Scandinavia, who's probably a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And they've tried it again and again and again, haven't they? St. Leger Arc, and it's just not the ideal prep. So if you've already got it won with someone else, why not stay there? It's a penalty kick for Lambourne, really, isn't it? I got a lot of respect for Karma's, but something about him, I think if Lambourne wasn't here, I'd almost be inclined to back something at a bigger price to take him on. So maybe the way for me, I think Mount Kilimanjaro for horse rated 109 in amongst this lot is a huge price. Not particularly, he'll need to do better than the listed win last time out. I'm more looking back on the second to Twain at Saint Cloud. Obviously that was in heavy ground, but it was over shorter. And even his maiden, he was third. He's beaten 5.5 lengths, but he was third behind Field of Gold in a maiden. Be the sort of horse maybe I might play in a forecast with Lambourne, particularly if he's going to be ridden prominently. He might be the sort of horse, if they do decide to try and use him as a pacemaker, that could box on a bit better than the others are expecting. But in terms of the win perspective, I think it's sort of signed, sealed, delivered. I think you could say maybe they probably want a bit of rain for him, but on everything we know, he's not opposable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Stay True shaped like the best horse. Most people would agree with this. He's shaped like the best horse in the Lingfield Derby trial. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? It's a little bit of a concern he hasn't been seen for 102 days, but he retains all of the potential. He's the last of the Galileos at Aidan O'Brien's yard, and it would be nice to see him take a big step forward, but he would need to take a significant step forward to go and get to Lambourne's level. He should just go and win the race, essentially. Okay, we'll go on to the feature race on the Thursday, which is the Pretemps Network. So tempted to say handicap hurdle. Yorkshire Oaks, for which, again, it looks like a Ballydoyle benefit. We've got the dual Oaks winner, Minnie Hawk, who is 11 to 4 on, is the best price. Estrange for David O'Mara and Danny Tudhope. As a 4-year-old, will have to give weight to the dual classic winner. She's 11 to 2. Whirl is priced up for this race, but is not going to run. Highly unlikely Garden of Eden would run either. In fact, we're down to a 6-runner field. So, again, another Group 1 that only has the 6 runners. So, Minnie Hawk, 11 to 4 on. Estrange, 11 to 2. Killing Queen, 12 to 1. And Bedtime Story is 20s. Maybe they're going to run Garden of Eden, because why not? She may very well end up picking up some black type. But this does look like a really good opportunity for Minnie Hawk, unless Estrange takes a big step forward, which she might. David O'Mara's horses are in much better form now than they were when she just about managed to beat Scenic. And Scenic had just been acquired by Watman Racing and is held in very high regard, or at least was before she had to be retired to the paddock. But, I mean, this really should be Minnie Hawk's race to lose, Adam.
Yeah, it should be. I'm not sure I'd be particularly keen to take sort of 4 to 11, 1 to 3 about her. She sets the fair standard. She's an Oaks winner. I didn't like the way Estrange went through the race at Haydock. I know, Mario went in great form, but just she looked really laboured, and I feel like Minnie Hawk is another 7-10 pounds above Scenic. So there's quite a lot to find there. I kind of hope Garden of Eden runs, because I think I'd want to back Garden of Eden maybe in the full cast or betting without Minnie Hawk. She hit the line really well in the Ribblesdale, fastest final 2 furlongs, fastest run. That form is nowhere near quite the standard that Minnie Hawk has achieved, but I think Garden of Eden would be a clear best of the rest, and I think there might be a little bit of value in the forecast. But again, I don't really want to take one O'Brien on with another, because you never know who's trying and who's not.
I'm very keen to back Bedtime Story in this race. There's a bet somewhere lingering around that is Daryz at 12-1 for the Juddmonte International and Bedtime Story at 20-1 for this race. And that was 3 places Juddmonte, 3 places this. Bedtime Story is still a 20-1 shot, but now it's only 2 places. It takes a little bit of creativity, but she was a brilliant juvenile. She was second in the French Oaks. You can just completely discard the run the last day. The very same as Arabian Queen. See the Fire, Arabian Queen's offspring. It's a national hunt start that Ryan Moore steals at the front end. She gets left at the start. She's never really put into the race after that. But it will have brought her along for this. She's by Frankel, who obviously was one of the best ever winners of the Juddmonte International. And she's out of Mecca's Angel, a dual winner of the Nunthorpe. And her sister Content won this race a year ago. So I'll take a chance that this is the day that Bedtime Story bounces back at a big price. But really, Minnie Hawk is the one who should be winning, Georgia.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to want to make sure she wins. I mean, she's by Frankel, out of a sister to Kingman. It's a different bloodline for Coolmore, and I think it'll be very important to them. And she looks extremely straightforward. I imagine Ned Walkers will go forward and she'll take a lead off her. I didn't think Estrange was going to run on the quick ground, is she? I do think she's better than what she showed last time, because it was a tactical 4-runner race where they stayed off the pace, and then it turned into a sprint on quick ground. I thought Estrange would actually be one for Ascot, where she's more likely to get her ground, and the other O'Brien good fillies would be going to the Arc and things like that. I thought that would be the time to bet her, but I think this would be just a boring Minnie Hawk job.
More than likely, to be fair, more than likely it's just going to be she's the one who gets the job done. But are you in agreement, George? Is this just going to be the odds-on favourite wins?
3 favourites for me so far, I'm afraid. Just best horse in the race by a mile, isn't she? She's best in at the weights. Bedtime Story second best in. Garden of Eden's third best in. Maybe the Aidan O'Brien trifecta. If I don't know, anyone will give you that with 6 horses in the race, but might be the way to play it. Sort of copy and paste what everyone else said. Even if Estrange was running off levels, I would find it hard based off the visual impression of the last day to make a case for her. And there's only beyond that, there's no realistic opposition for Minnie Hawk. So I think she just wins as she likes. Maybe go for the for 2 lengths or more or whatever. Try and get a better price.
Well, I would just then say, if George is right about Estrange, and from memory you are correct about that. That was definitely a concern for David O'Mara about good to firm ground. This race could completely fall apart, and if it does. We're recording this on Monday afternoon. If you can get 20-1 about Bedtime Story with no Estrange and no Whirl, she finishes second and you make more money than getting stuck into Minnie Hawk, and you need Minnie Hawk to win. And what if Minnie Hawk doesn't fire for some reason and Bedtime Story picks up the pieces and follows in the footsteps of her sister? 20-1 is too big a price about Bedtime Story. So I'll take a chance on her, but it's pretty obvious that the most likely winner is going to be Minnie Hawk. But that is a race that could completely fall apart. A race that doesn't look like it's going to fall apart, and hopefully it doesn't, is the feature race on the Friday. The 5 furlong Coolmore Wootton Bassett Nunthorpe Stakes. Joe Fanning booked a couple of weeks ago to ride Lady Aman, who bids to make history as the first juvenile filly to win this race since 19 Dickety-Doo. Gerline's not too keen on this. But it doesn't matter, because the owners are, and the owners are the ones who pay the bills, and they make the decisions, and so Lady Man runs, and more of this in racing, please. More ambition, more adventure, more aggressive campaigning. This is brilliant. Best of luck to all involved. Great opportunity for Joe Fanning. 5-1 is the best price. You do well to get it, I would imagine. But she is favourite for this race. Whether she should be is another matter entirely. You can get 5-1 with William Hill, actually. We'll give him a shout out for that. They deserve that. Arizona Blaze, 5-1, 6-1. So joint favourite with some firms, 6-1 second favourite. You understand he's Irish, guys. You remember the fact that he's Irish, but that's the current state of sprinting. An Irish sprinter can be favourite for the race. We really like Arizona Blaze, and he was really good the other day. The Australian horse, Asaphora, is she the same? I don't think so. Sayada Darian, who was tipped up by Tom Siegel after a really impressive win at York, so we know she handles the track, and those horses from the Commonwealth Cup keep on winning. Whether you want to take 7-1 about those is another matter entirely. And Jack Davidson's She's Quality, who's been a model of consistency this season, 9-1. Handicapper JM Jungle, now Group 2 winner, friend of the show, JM Jungle, is a 12-1 shot. I haven't even mentioned our old favourite Knight Rider because I just don't think it's good for my mindset to do that. Adam Mills, who wins the Coolmore Nunthorpe?
I think Lady of Man wins it. I just, whenever I come on this podcast, we spend the whole summer saying, oh, the sprinting division is terrible. Look at all these handicappers winning these group races. What is going on? We haven't got a good sprinter. We have no idea what's going on. So I can't really be overly enthusiastic about any of the other sprinters. Lady of Man gets so much weight. She's really impressive. She's got loads of speed. I think 5-1's a very fair price to find out. That would be my main play. The other one, I'm going to wait for the day, hope it's a big field and get extra places. At the moment, and I've no idea if they're even going to run him, but Manakan is like 150-1.
Yeah.
Now, this horse has had a lot of time off. He's had a lot of issues. He was a very smart horse in 2022, and then we lost him for a lot of time. I watched back his replay from the Shergar Cup, and I thought, oh, blimey, what on earth was that jockey doing? And then I looked at it, no, it's Holly Doyle. So it wasn't even like it was a jockey who was in the track. It was just an unusual ride on him. But I just feel like they're persisting with this horse. Now, a Group 1 should not be won by a horse rated 99. And if Manakan does win this, my goodness, we should just abandon all sprints. 7 furlongs and up for next year. But he's 150-1, and I don't think he's that far behind that he could sneak into a place. But my main bet will definitely be Lady of Man because she gets so much weight from everything else that if she runs to a mark in the region of 105, 106, that'll be enough. And I'd rather take 5-1 about her doing that than try and guess which of the handicappers' turn it will be this time.
Yeah, I get it, but it's a difficult thing to do. To be fair, the Platinum Queen did end up winning a Group 1 as a juvenile in the... What's the Group 1 on Arc Day in France, the sprint?
Prix de l'Abbé.
Prix de l'Abbé, thank you. It was gone. It was not coming. The hamster had stopped running on the wheel and it wasn't getting there. But she'd been beaten in this race by Highfield Princess. Now, to be fair, she was beaten by an absolute monster in Highfield Princess that day. It's a difficult thing to do, Georgia, and she's 5-1 best price to be able to go and do it. Are you with Adam Mills? Are you with Lady of Man?
Yeah, I mean, can it be another favourite again? I mean, the bookies are going to be having a bad week if our results are so far. A
favourite in a sprint race too should be raising a few eyebrows.
Yeah, but hopefully it is that simple. I mean, the 2-year-old fillies have done, you said, Platinum Queen and Acapulco to Mecca's Angel. And yeah, I think I am going to go for that. The other one I would say is Arizona Blaze. I think he comes here in good form. He's pretty consistent, and maybe Kia Girafshin's luck has finally changed after the other weekend. He seems to be, his luck has changed a bit. I don't see it as a positive that Saradati Darana for Richard Hughes is stepping back in trip. I thought she was staying all the way to the line when she won the Group 3 at York last time. So, yeah, Lady of Man, Arizona Blaze. But I see it the same, yeah.
I think I'm tempted to go with Washington Heights. I was hoping to get a bit of a bigger price about him, George, but he's got a good record at the track. He was second at the track as a juvenile, obviously a winner the last day at York. In behind him was JM Jungle, who's come out and won the King George V at Royal Ascot. Celandine was the other one that interested me. She's a 3-year-old filly, Fred Walker and Tom Marquand. She's obviously a juvenile winner at the track as well. She has form to turn around with Saeda Darian. I thought she shaped better than the nose defeat to Roman Dragon at Chester, and there's enough to think that she might be able to go and improve as well. And Manakan was the other one. Just you are getting creative. A 6-year-old handicapper who's rated 99, come on, like he can't seriously do it. But he's won twice and good to firm. He is a pacey horse, and I think he probably should have won at the Shergar Cup meeting. At 100-1, I can't let him go without a couple of quid each way in him, but I don't really trust any of these, George.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's sort of the overriding thing from this season with the sprinters. But you can trust Arizona Blaze. Surely, he's got plenty of weight, but his 2 runs this season at below 6 furlongs, he's won both. Like, he seems to have finally sort of found the right trip for him. Not to say his form above at 6 furlongs or above has been bad. Like, check him on the right, yeah. Beaten a neck by Time for Sandals, beaten a length by Henri Matisse over 7. I just sort of thought this was should be favourite, to be honest. Two RPRs have both been 119, which has them down as career bests. And I just think this will suit him, to be honest. You can rely on him. He's going to give you a run for your money. I think he's only been out the first three once in his entire career, is he, that I can think of. If you fancy him, then you almost have to fancy Magira at a bigger price, given chased him home the last day. One a bit of a massive price, I presume it is going here, is Frost at Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, got all the right form, hasn't he? Sorry. Only beat a length and a quarter.
Being a length and a half by James Jungle.
Exactly, and that was an RPR of 118 when beating a neck by American Affair. And you think, if it wasn't 28-1 that day, if we were talking this was regional, or so an equivalent horse, finished beating a neck in the King Charles III, wasn't it, at Ascot? Even if it got beaten next time, if we put in here single figure odds, you wouldn't be getting this sort of price about it. It was just because it was unfancied she was unfancied on the day, and bought in basically listed form at best. But with sprinters, you think, like, because they're running over shorter, people sort of go, we can fluke a good performance, but you can't fluke speed. You can either go the gallop or you can't. And so it'd be far easier to fluke a Group 1 second in like a mile 4 where the race falls apart. It's over 5, they're not going far enough for them to stop and fall in a heap, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no fluke to a result like that, and I don't think she really did anything to let herself down the last day. It was a bit of a mess that day at Goodwood, wasn't it? And the rain came down, and no horse knew what ground they were going to be running on by the off. But if I was going to take a swing on one at bigger price, it probably would be Frost at Dawn, which you're getting like 25s, isn't it? Yeah, 25.
Yeah, there's 25s available. She's 14 with a couple of firms.
Price.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I interviewed Jim Crowley this time last year, and he was going to be riding her. I remember she'd put in some really big performances at Meydan before switching to the Night Yard, and she was a 66-1 shot, I think, for last year's race. He was really excited about the opportunity to ride her, and obviously she just didn't quite step forward last year, but she has this season. She doesn't have a whole lot to find. She's going to be suited by the track, and you're getting 25-1 about her. She's one that can definitely close. I think Arizona Blaze should be favourite. I don't think Adam Mills is out of pocket at all by talking about Menachen, for all that it seems crazy, but 150-1 about a horse like him in a division like this kind of tells you the fact that we're all struggling. We all have a raised eyebrow, and we're all a bit confused. So let the roulette wheel spin. Who does it land on this time in the sprint division? Adam Mills says,
Lady and Man is what I'm going to say.
Georgia Cox says the wheel lands on
Arizona Blaze.
George Gorman says it lands on
Arizona Blaze.
And I say
that Menachen will pop up. It is going to pop up. There's a project going on there. I think it might be the autumn. I think we might be looking more towards sort of not Champions Day necessarily, but Champions Day time of year.
What's his best time of year? This is not far off his best time of year. So he's run 6 times in September, October, and won 3. He's run 7 times in July, August, won 2, placed 3 times. He's also arguably his best performances come on the back of quick runs. Between 8 and 14 days, he's run 3 times. He's won twice and placed once. But this is a Group 1. It's not impossible. I say that the roulette wheel of sprinting lands on 23 black. Good luck to you. It could be Washington Heights. It could be Frost at Dawn. It could be Menachen. It could be Arizona Blaze. We managed to do all of that without doing any mention of Knight Rider.
Yeah. We're keeping it that way.
Can't do it. I can't do it. No. No. Good luck to you if you're backing him, but no thanks. Okay, the Weatherby Lonsdale Cup. Breaking news. Paul Ferguson returns to the Final Furlong podcast. If you were a Jumps fan, your opportunity to get Paul Ferguson's horses to follow will be coming your way very, very soon. There will be an exclusive Final Furlong podcast discount code, and there will be 3 specials with Paul Ferguson previewing the National Hunt season. We're looking forward to Paul Ferguson's return to the Final Furlong podcast. It's coming sooner than you think. And this week, Gavin Lynch returns to the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed to the Final Furlong podcast, because we got Gavin, we got Paul, we got loads of other features coming your way. Jumps Racing Chat coming your way very, very soon on the Final Furlong podcast. Some horses that may very well be siring future jump stars. Maybe they'll be jumping hurdles themselves. Who knows? Trollerman won't be, because he's a Golden Horn and he's a gelding, so it ain't going to happen for him. 5-4. His old rival Illinois is now the time. Is he going to run? 11-4. Al Kareem, who's been fantastic this season, including 2 wins at the track, an 8-1 shot. Sweet William, 8-1. Bounce back to something like his best form the other day. And the old slow coach, the old boat Shackleton, is a 12-1 shot for this race. Adam Mills, pick the bones out of the Lonsdale Cup.
Is this not just obvious that if Trawlerman runs, he wins? Like, I just don't understand why he's not long odds on. There's a massive difference between him. There's daylight between him and Illinois. Everything else is not good enough. It's 2 miles. He looks to be in the best form of his entire life. I just can't see. I'd think he'd be sort of 1-2, 4-7. He's 5-4. So if he lines up, he's surely backed and he surely wins. I don't want to take him on. There's nothing in this field that I think can beat Trawlerman if he runs this race.
Illinois will beat him. The distance, the cutback in distance and the weight allowance will swing things in Illinois' favour. And I think Trollerman for all that he's had 64 days to recover, that was a real tough race. That was a real tough race in the Gold Cup. And this is Illinois' level. He just can't cut it at Group 1 level, but he can absolutely cut it. He dominates this division. So at 11-4, I'd side with him. I'm not sure about the trip for Al Kareem, but I really like that horse. Georgia, have I just talked absolute nonsense? Is Trawlerman a good thing?
Yeah, I'm with Trollerman, to be honest with you. I like the quick grounds. He won the Ebor here 3 years ago. He's a different level of horse now, and I don't see Illinois turning it around. Al Kareem, I mean, he set such a slow pace when he won the Silver Cup at York last time. He won't be able to do that with Trollerman, and I don't think he'll be able to live up with his pace either. He'll just swing along and win as he likes, I think.
George, do you concur?
I concur completely. If you think Trawlerman had a hard race at Ascot, Illinois had a harder race, and he in a race that 3-year-olds don't. Like, I couldn't. Trawlerman had him beat half a mile from home the last day. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't see why you can't have him beat at the line on that basis here. The one I would be inclined to get involved with each way now would be Coltrane. He's had 3 visits to York, won the Melrose, second in this 3 years ago, won this 2 years ago. Now, he obviously enjoys the track. He was beat a fair way by Trawlerman last time they met at the start of the season there. But, getting beat 5 lengths into second isn't unusual in races of this nature, like long distance races. I don't think it means you got absolutely battered like it would if you got beat 5 lengths in a sprint. Like, finishing 5 lengths behind Trawlerman here could easily be enough to finish second again. And that with a run under his belt, comes here off the back of a win as well. He only beat Al Nair, but wins a win, and he returns to a track that he obviously enjoys quite a lot. I'd have him over. Al Kareem's a lovely horse, and I hate not having him on side because I do enjoy seeing him win. But like some of these Shackleton, Sweet William, I just don't trust them. Don't know if they stay. I think Coltrane looks a really solid option at a really silly price, to be honest. And who knows if Trawlerman doesn't show up or can't quite show the same form over 2 mile that he showed over 2.5 last time. There's a chance he could beat him, a slim chance. But I think that's a ridiculous price for a horse like Coltrane.
3 runs at York, 2 wins in a place. I can see it. He's 16-1.
At this meeting.
Yeah, 16-1 about him. But at this meeting a year ago, Illinois was second to Los Angeles in the Great Voltigeur Stakes. And I think he will go on better and go and win this race at a level in a division that suits him. This may very well be the last chance for Illinois, though. It may very well be. It's already the last chance for Knight Rider. He's off. This may very well be the last chance for Illinois. For the first time, the Sky Bet City of York Stakes will be run as a Group 1. And controversially, Rosalian lines up here instead of France. Is this because the owner didn't know that the horse had a setback? Who cares? At this point, I don't even care anymore about it. He runs. Maybe 7 furlongs will suit him. He's been agonizingly unlucky in the Queen Anne. It suited us because we were with Docklands. Didn't suit anybody in the Sussex Stakes except for Rafe Beckett and winning jockey Richard Kingswood, and well done to them. But maybe this is the redemption for him. Or is this trip going to just be better for Never So Brave, who's completely unexposed? Is coming into this race on the back of 2 consecutive wins, including a career best effort, and now steps into Group 1 company for the first time and is another of the ex-Sir Michael Stout horses who have just improved out of all recognition for a new trainer, this time for Andrew Balding. More Thunder was really good at the weekend. Is this horse going to step forward for the same owner but different trainer? We shall see. Monona Charlie's a horse that we know Adam Mills is a massive fan of and was bought almost specifically for this race. That's what his connection said after he was second to Woodshawna and after he'd won in Longchamp. This is the race they want to win. It's the Bond Thoroughbred team, and they're going to be going for it. He remains in France. And Cosmic Year, over a trip that's going to suit him, is a double-figure price. As long as he doesn't get boxed in again, he might have a bit of a chance. The Group 1 City of York Stakes, Adam Mills, who's it going to go to?
When we spoke about this 10 days ago, I said Marinara Charlie. I won't desert him. I still think Marinara Charlie is the most likely winner of this race. He's the pace angle. He would have won the Prix Jean Prat if he'd stayed on the true line, hadn't drifted into the centre of the track. I'm going to put it out that Woodshawna has franked that form. We'll just pretend the line in winter didn't run yesterday because it doesn't look so street now. But I think Marinara
I'll just say about him, he keeps hanging to the right. So there's clearly a physical issue with the line in winter. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, well, we'll agree to disagree on that. But Marinara Charlie is just tough. He's gutsy. He finds lots of pressure. He's going to get out in front in this field. Aurelian Lemaitre is an excellent judge of pace, and I think this is the genuine Group 1 7 furlong horse in this race. And for that reason, I think 7-1 is a gift of a price. I'm quite happy to take it.
By Witten Bassett, who obviously won at this meeting as a juvenile and has already demonstrated a lot of speed. He was sent off an odds-on favourite for the Group 1 that Twain won last year. While he bombed out in that race, the fact that he was sent off an odds-on favourite tells you the regard the horse is held in, and Adam Mills has been telling you about this horse for weeks on the Final Furlong podcast. Have you hit the subscribe button yet, by the way? Are you subscribing to this podcast on YouTube? You really should be. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode going forward. Georgia Cox, who are you with?
Yeah, I mean, I was on this podcast before Goodwood and I was with Rosalian then, and I still think he is the class horse in the race. It is an interesting concept, this as a Group 1. I mean, you're in the future, you could get July Cup horses, Queen Anne horses stepping back, so it makes it interesting how it's going to be run. I mean, the entries have just been all over the place. At one point, it looked like it was going to be a serious race. Then it looked like, oh dear, York must be worried. And now it's come back good again. I don't think it helps having the Lennox, the Hungerford, and the race in France yesterday.
Yeah.
Because people can just avoid each other. I think they need to space them out more. But it is a very interesting race.
Oh, you've been muted, Georgia. Georgia is currently house sitting, and it means that the Wi-Fi is not working perfectly for her. So yeah, we'll get Georgia sorted out. Technical difficulties here on the Final Furlong podcast, which we will get back to you about in a second. George, you can cover for Georgia in the meantime. So maybe I've completely lost my mind. Maybe I have, but I was gearing up for a real tilted shadow of light in this race, but probably good to firm ground means that they're not going to run him because it wouldn't suit him. Cosmic Year was sent off favourite for that race in France, and while he was disappointing, he was only beaten 3/4 of a length, or 3 1/4 lengths that day. He absolutely powered through that field. He looked like he was going to absolutely bolt up, and then he didn't. And the last day at Goodwood, awful, just awful. The ride, but Colin Keane is a top-class jockey, and I'm sure he'll get it right in this race. 14-1 is too big about a horse of his ability, so he's the one that interests me. But I have to say, the one towards the top of the betting that I'm really inclined to go with is Adam Mills and Monona Charlie. Who are you with, George?
Yeah, I'm still just about of the opinion. I'd like to give him one more chance, but I'm still just about the opinion that the best horse in this race is Rosalian. But I don't like the drop back 7 furlongs.
No, neither do I.
He's been struggling to get there over a mile. Gets horses that he probably should be beating, but there's an argument that tactics have gone against him, pacemakers have gone against him, things like that. And I just can't back. I don't like the drop back in trip because I'm getting to the point now. I think he's got one more chance with me. Not here. I won't hold it against him if he gets beat here. But he's got one more chance for me in a mile over a Group 1 to prove that he's as good as I think he is still. But I'll have to leave him here. But because I think he's the best horse in the race, I can't really back anything else to win outright. I took a swing on a couple. Cosmic Year, I'm very much with you. I really, really liked him. Was at Kempton at the start of the year. Loved him again at Newmarket. Although at the time I was a bit taken aback that he was running an enlisted race when he had been favourite for the Guineas. But then what Field of Gold has done since sort of shows why he wasn't allowed to take his chance in the Guineas. The fact that the last two have been on soft ground and he's a Kingman with quite a low sort of action, I'd be inclined to forgive him those two. Because if he's as good as I think he is, he could very well win this, particularly back at 7. A little bit of a mad prize is 10 Bob Tony being a bit overlooked.
Yeah.
Like he beat Kinross on seasonal debut, first run after a gelding up. Career best by some ways. Is there any reason he couldn't kick on and be a good horse at this level? Like I don't see why not. Like looking at where Seagull's 11 is in the betting, maybe he is in the right place in the betting, but yeah, I wouldn't have him in as a 33 to 1 shot for me. I think he's got a better chance than Kirat, who God knows with him how he's start favourite for nearly every race in his life. Then when he's 150 to 1, he goes and wins a Group 1, comes out of it. Now he's the second biggest price he's ever been in his life, having won a Group 1. Is interesting. Yeah, I suppose you look up the likes of Lake Forest audience above him in the betting. Maybe he's in the right place, but 33 to 1, I'd be looking at a horse that's got no chance. I think this horse could progress into this kind of a horse now. Whether it's going to be this time or it's going to take a few runs, I don't know. But I couldn't leave him go at 33 to 1, that's for sure. And other than that, like exactly, he's really disappointing me.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. After that run against Aragona, I was like, this thing's an absolute weapon. And she's disappointed me big time twice since. But yeah, it's actually, the more you look at it, a deep enough race. I couldn't have 10 Bob Tony only above an Ath and Ides of March in the betting. I'll find a way. I don't know. It's not my book, but I'll probably have him at 16s along with audience exactly, Lake Forest and Kirat probably, if I was writing the book.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not going to back him, but I can absolutely see 10 Bob Tony taking a big step forward again. One of the things I like about Cosmic Year is the fact that his dam Passage of Time was a Group 1 winner as a 2-year-old, but she won the Musadora for the late great Sir Henry Cecil and then produced Time Test to win this race when it was a Group 2, and that was one of his career best efforts. So as his mother won at the track, as his half-brother won this race when it was a Group 2, putting in one of the best performances he's ever had. If Harry Charlton rolls the dice with him, which it's a little bit odd that you're going to be beaten in a Group 3 and then you're going to step into a Group 1, but I think you have to ignore that run. He was not willing to go through a gap. There was no gap for him to go through. And as was evidenced by Ryan Moore in the Eclipse, just go wide. Just go wide. So if he gets a clear run, 14 to 1 really underestimates this horse's level of ability. And I'll stick with him. I hope that he can run a massive race. But Monona Charlie of the shorter price ones would be the very, very intriguing one. Georgia, you got muted. I think you might still be on mute. Am I able to unmute? I can do it. You should be unmuted. Oh, your mic is not connected. That's what it's saying, Georgia. Hey, she's back.
Hi.
All right.
I don't know where you stopped hearing me from then, because I don't know where I'd got up to when it stopped. But yeah, I think I'm going off the cliff with Rosalia, and I hope, knowing there's such a speed bias at York, I hope they don't get too far back. And I do like 10 Bob Tony, but I would like him if there was rain. And they always said they wouldn't run him on quick ground. And I stick with that.
Okay, so in the unlikely event that it rains, hopefully that's the case. Although there's rain starting to come in Ireland, we don't want that. We've had beautiful, incredible weather over the last few days. But in York, if it starts to rain, then 10 Bob Tony would be an interesting one. If it doesn't, then he's not going to run. And George is going to keep the faith with Rosalia. And to be fair, Richard Hannon was asked about going up in trip, and he instantly said, this was before Goodwood, he said, no, if anything, I'd go back. He'd go back to 6 furlongs. So he ends up meeting in the middle at 7. But I'm with George.
Yeah.
I think he's only just getting there. But hey, maybe he will just completely outclass this lot, and it would be great to see him win. The big handicap, the feature race of the entire meeting, is the Ebor Stakes. It's the Sky Bet Ebor Handicap. I'm kind of kicking myself because I gave the advice to back London City at a double figure price. Did I do it? No, because I'm too stupid to have done that. So he's 8-1 is the best price about him. He's fascinating. He's a winner at the track a year ago in Handicap Company. It's an Aidan O'Brien 4-year-old who doesn't really justify still being a Coolmore horse, and yet he's still there. He's by Justify out of Winter, classic winner and multiple Group 1 winner for Aidan O'Brien. Just a fascinating horse, and the horse he beat, Align the Stars, is a horse who's going to be popping up in Handicap Company soon, and did win a handicap after that race. I thought he shaped really nicely on his comeback behind A Lot of Joy when he was beaten 12.5 lengths, but it was how he moved through the race early on, and then once beaten, it was just the typical wide margin defeat. Nothing wrong with that. And then again, he shaped very nicely behind Al Rifa. I think he'll take a big step forward, and I really like him for this race, but people are starting to cop onto him. Most people are of the opinion, though, that Hip Hop Delacroix, who's since won a novice hurdle, a maiden hurdle at Galway, and who was unlucky in the race a year ago, is going to be back in the winner's enclosure. And Colin Keane has gone out of his way to secure the ride at a Mills. Is he the one they all have to beat?
I think he's the one they have to beat. But that's a different statement from saying I'd want to take sort of 7-2, 4-1. I think it's a little bit short. He was unlucky last year, but it's not like all of his form screams out that he's some sort of group performer. So, and really, what can you read into the Galway hurdles win? I'm not too sure. You know, if you're on at double figure prices, well done. Wouldn't want to touch him at this price. It's wide open, so it's really difficult. The one I came down on as being the wrong price is Majestic Warrior for James Tate. Not sure if he's going to run. Absolutely fragile. Clearly got legs made of biscuits. Only had 4 starts as a 5-year-old, but he's quite progressive. Quite interesting that they've got him in the Irish St Ledger as well. Thirsk in April. Haven't seen him since, but he went up £9 to that's a mark of 98, which has got him in this race. If he lines up, he's definitely interesting in that he could be the Group 1 performer that's just lurking here, and they might find they've got him right. But it's anyone's guess as to whether he's going to turn up, although he has been backed in recent days. It would be a tentative play on him, but this really isn't my sort of race, so it'd be small stakes.
Okay. What about Georgia Cox? Who have you got for us in the Ebor?
I thought the media morning at Coolmore was very interesting when Aidan O'Brien was talking about London City, and said he literally said that it saved him for this race, and when he won at the meeting last year, he knew he was going to come back here for this, and he's come on from his first to his second run. So, I mean, he had that look about him when this was really has been planned out. So I'm going to go for one at a big price, and that is Al Mosher. He can hang left, and he was really disappointing last time at Ascot, but he's been gelded since. It's his first run since being gelded. And Carl Burke, he hasn't had him that long. It's only be his 3rd run for Carl Burke. He's unexposed. He looks like he's got glimmers of talent, and I think he's not the most straightforward, but I'm going to go for him at a big price.
He's 25-1, I'm saying, about Al Mosher, and he was really fancied for Royal Ascot. Just to emphasise, you're saying that Aidan O'Brien has been saying this is the long-term plan for London City.
Yeah. He said he said to Ollie Bell, I think there was a media morning there this week, and he said to him, since he won at the Dante meeting last year, always coming back for this. And like you said, the fact they've kept him at Ballydoyle, and they said they were literally minding his mark, and it makes it very interesting because you think they wouldn't bother, would you? So, you know.
Mediterranean back in the early 2000s was a big winner of this race for Aidan O'Brien. He's done it since as well. 8-1 about London City. He's going to do it. He's going to do it, George. He's the best bred horse in the race. Justify out of Winter. How far does London City win by?
It's not for me, Emmett. I think we might have sort of missed one in this. I don't know. Yeah, I assume it's running. But as Ascending not got off really lightly with £4 winning at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially given Leinster, was he fourth, has come out and won a Group 3 since. Nürburgring didn't do much to hurt the form by winning a novice chase next time out. I think the third horse got stuff next run, but like I just think he's done really well out of the handicapper here. Like, especially they played a bit of a game with him there. I obviously put him up on the podcast, but I thought, in fact, he went and won by 9 lengths, stepped up to 2 mile, and then they're like, oh, we need to give him a run before Royal Ascot, but we don't want to go up too much. They dropped him back to a mile 4, and he bloody went and won anyway, and went up another £2. I think we haven't reached anywhere near the ceiling of this horse, the flat horse yet, and I'd probably rather it was over 2 miles than mile 6, but I just think he's a bit of a mad price, really. A Royal Ascot staying race winner with collateral Group 3 form coming in here £4 higher. Like, I can't see. It sounds mad when you're talking about Henry de Bromhead, but if his horse was trained by like John Gosden or someone, surely he's half the price. Surely, I can't understand it at all. And the other one that caught my eye a bit more in terms of how he's been campaigned was this Mr. Percy of Joseph O'Brien's. Only runs 6 times on the flat total, I think. 2 wins, 3 seconds, and only turf. He was switched back to the flat 2 starts back there in June, won by a neck, got put up £8, and then they went, all right, whether the Galway race was always the plan, I don't know. But it almost seems like it's been used, just visually, it almost looks like it's been used as a tune-up for this, but they're like, well, we don't want to go up anymore. My one thing with him is I'd like to see him, I presume, claimed off of in this race, because obviously he was claimed off of when he won at the Curragh. So it's the difference between going up £8 and going up £13. So I'd like to see him claimed off again, preferably by the same jockey if he still claims 5. But he just caught my eye in terms of a profile for this sort of race, like essentially coming here off a win and then a not quiet run, but they switched codes in order to protect his mark. Always sort of, they're shrewd, aren't they, Joseph O'Brien? And it looks like this might have been the plan for me.
I'll mention one at a massive price. I'm seeing 50s. If Fleetwood gets in, I'm not saying he'll win, but he could certainly be involved in the placings, and he stayed on really strongly at Goran to win the other day, and he was a good winner of a Curragh handicap. There was a Joseph O'Brien horse that day called Beset that, if she'd got a clear run, probably would have won, but she's had a chance to win subsequently and wasn't able to take it. And he's a horse that he was entered in the sale twice and they took him out. So I get the feeling that they feel like there's more with him that they can go and win with. Maybe this is the race he can do it in. Be great to see Jim Bolger back in the UK with a big win. Okay, but London City is the main pick for me. But massive respect for Georgia, Adam, and Georgia's picks. All right, that is the Ebor. It's the feature race of the entire week. Of course, we're going to preview it for you again when we have the final fields. We know the draw, and we've got a clearer picture of everything on Thursday. We'll do our full preview. Again, 2 weeks ago, 6 winners on the Saturday. This weekend, 5 winners on the podcast, including 10-1, 12-1, and advised at 25-1. So make sure you're subscribed to the Final Furlong podcast on all podcast apps and right here on YouTube if you're watching us as well. Very briefly, we'll just race through some of the juvenile races. We've got the Acomb Stakes, which was won last year by the Line in Winter. This year, Aidan O'Brien's got Italy to try and follow in the Line in Winter's footsteps. Charlie Appleby has had the beaten first or second favourite in this race for the last 4 runnings. And he's going to have the favourite again, this time Distant Storm. Now, the form from him is absolutely red hot. He beat Constitution River, those 2 clear. The 7 individual winners have come out of that race. At least 3 of them, including Oxted for the Gosden Yard. Adam, you and I were talking about him the other day. He looked ready for group races right now on the back of that. Distant Storm is a rare commodity. He's the last progeny of Date with Destiny, the only foal, the only horse to race by the 4-time Group 1 winner, George Washington, one of the best that Aidan O'Brien ever trained, and he's by Night of Thunder, who keeps winning. The only thing I would say about him in a negative sense, and certainly Charlie Appleby was full of praise for the horse afterwards. He was saying they think he's a Group 1 horse. They have a Group 1 target in mind for him, but they wanted to progress slowly with him, and that this would be the next step before going to that, hopefully at the end of the season. But he's a breeze up horse, so he would have known his job really, really well. The positive is he cost 1.9 million at the breeze up, so obviously a lot of people wanted him, and he's gone and won a race that's worked out very well. But how much improvement will there be to come from him compared to Italy, who beat the Secret Adversary on debut, who's then gone on to be second in the Cheltenham? A defeat in Ayr was quickly knocked on the head by a win in listed company when he beat Brussels the other day. He's a very smart horse, and again runs for the winning connections of the race last year. And Rochford Bridge for the Adrian Keatley yards, he's had the runner-up in this race, and he had the third in the Gimcrack a year ago as well. This horse was 28-1 and looked like a fluke winner at Ayr, beating the Secret Adversary. But the Secret Adversary has come out and won a listed race since. The third horse already had previous experience for Carl Burke and has won his maiden since as well. Has gone and won his maiden since as well on his third start. He's by Memes. There's a lot to like about this fella. He's completely unexposed and having his second start thrown into the Acomb Stakes. This is a really intriguing race.
This is a very deep race, so I don't really want to be taking sort of 7-4, 2-1 about anything. I take your point about Distance Storm, the form, but I don't really look at the price tag because otherwise Kia Jarabchin would just win everything. So it's not just about that. What I would say though is it's kind of, do you really want to take that? Italy, I'm just not convinced. That Newmarket run just looked a bit awkward, but so I'd rather just take a swing.
He was still green, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And look, we haven't really tested that form too much, but I'm just not. He just looked like he was he had a lot of maturing to do. I think maybe this time next year we might be talking about him as a top class horse, but he just didn't look ready. So I'm just going to take a swing on one. I really like a horse called Gawan, who absolutely bolted up at Newbury. The time was really good. He was the fastest final 2 furlongs. He had the best run-out speed. Now, the horse who finished second is another Godolphin runner who got turned over at Kempton at a short price next time. It was a bit disappointing. But the third Lost Signal one at Sandown, I think the forms are right. I really like the way he hit the line. And it shaped to me like he had loads more to come. It's interesting they're pitching him in this deep. But he's certainly interesting. He's in the Champagne Stakes as well. I just thought at 16-1, I'd rather chance him each way. And if Distance Storm or one of the others turns out to be a superstar, then so be it. But I'd be annoyed at myself if I took 7-4 after one run, and I'd rather take a double-figure price.
Yeah, well, the past experience of Charlie Appleby horses in this race, it's not just Charlie as well, by the way. There's a couple of Godolphin horses that ran in this race in the early 2010s. Brain's not fully engaged today, apologies. They got beaten in this race as well. So they just don't have a good record in it. They keep targeting the race, but they keep missing the target. And so I instinctively, I really want Distance Storm to be a class horse because I love George Washington. I absolutely love that racehorse. So I really want to see him have a really good bloodline to carry on, and Distance Storm may very well be that. But 7-4 is short. I completely take on board everything you said about Italy. I think he should be favourite, and I'm pretty certain that the horse who beat him, Saba Desert, is a really nice prospect for Charlie, and is probably a Group 1 horse. He did just look a little bit green that day. This track will probably suit him better. His half-brother Beaumark won a maiden at the track earlier this season. So this will suit him better. Obviously, Wooden Bassett won a juvenile race at York as well. So there's a lot in his favour that suggests he'll run a big race. But that 16-1 about the Keatley horse is very interesting as well, Georgia.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Italy just needs to learn to race a bit more professionally. I mean, like you said, he's from the Beaumark and Serpentine family, and I'm just not sure he's as fast as what he thinks he is mentally. He just needs to drop his head early, and then when they actually go for him, he's just a lengthener. And I mean, Distance Storm, the form from visually winning by a head only tells you half the picture, because the amount of winners and impressive winners that have come out from behind from behind him is just crazy. But I actually landed on the same horse as Adam with Guan. I thought he looks green under pressure, and he just won from pure ability. And it's trainers are creatures of habit. I think is this the race that he won with Chaldine when Chaldine won this race and then went on to. Yeah, so I landed on him as well. At, like you said, at a bigger price.
The qualification was different for it. Then you had to have won a maiden like the previous month in order to qualify to run for it. They got rid of all of those bizarre qualification practices. But it is a very good point to make that Caldine won this race for Andrew Balding as well. Shall I just warm up my vocal cords and tell you about the horses that Distance Storm beat? Ladies and gentlemen, the form of Distant Storm's Newmarket maiden is Constitution River, subsequent winner. Catalyst, subsequent winner. Oxygen, Venetian Prince, Hengroyan, Oceans 4, Swordmaker. All subsequent winners from that maiden. It's by far the hottest maiden to be run anywhere in Britain or Ireland. It looked like that Humidity maiden was, George, but all of a sudden Distant Storms one is the one that's captured people's imagination. But again, I don't know how much progression there's going to be to come from a breeze up horse who would know his job.
Yeah, no, exactly. Similar to the rest of yours. The top two in the betting are just too short for me. You mentioned him up top, Rochefort Bridge. I just think if you were impressed by, was it Italy beating the Secret Adversary? Just checking I was right about that. Yeah, you surely got to be more impressed by the fact that Rochefort Bridge beat him after he was already he'd already finished second in the Chesham, and did it on his racecourse debut. I think it's reasonable to expect him to take a step forward from that, and he wouldn't need to take a huge leap forward to get involved here. I just think he's a massive price. Him and Goodwood Galaxy as well, the Menuisier horse. He wouldn't have a load of first-time out 2-year-old winners, David Menuisier, but when they do, they tend to be pretty damn good. And this horse didn't disgrace himself at all behind Zavateri and Do or Do Not the last day. Another one I think is going to take a big step forward here. If you just obviously I had a lot to do with the breaking in of David Menuisier's yearlings over the years, and the list of the first time out winners, they all turn out to be pretty decent. Like his name Sir Bob Parker and Bellocchio and what was she called? The good mare.
Keys Carster?
No, the one that won at Ascot and the best one I've probably ever broken in. God, I can't remember her name. Le Havre filly, anyway. But yeah, they do tend to be pretty decent if they go and win first time out. This horse, Goodwood probably wouldn't have been the plan with it the last day, but obviously with the owners, might just have been the case that they were sort of rushed into running the horse there when they probably, like I say, it may not have been the plan. But yeah, those two horses I think take a massive step forward and probably overpriced in a race where, you know, there's plenty of depth and the top two in the market are not opposable, just too.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. They were 4.5 lengths clear, Rochford Bridge and the Secret Adversary at Ayr. And I know it looked like a bit of a fluke result and there was no pace on, and that meant that the Secret Adversary didn't settle as well as he could. But actually, looking back on it, he's a big scopy type. He's got a really nice American pedigree. He's by Memas. Straight after the race, Adrian Keatley was nominating this race, and I'll mention it again. He had the runner-up in this race 2 years ago, and he had the third horse in the Jim Crack last year. So he knows exactly what's required for a juvenile to run a big race there. And at 16-1, all chance Rochford Bridge. It's Guan for Adam and Georgia. George and I are both with Rochford Bridge in the Acomb Stakes. That's on the Wednesday. The Lowther Stakes, intriguing running. America Queen for Richard Hughes. Ryan Moore has been booked to ride 11-4. These colours have been carried to victory in this race in the past. They've also got Time for Showcasing. Charlie Johnston, Billy Loughnan's going to be on board, 33s. But Royal Fixation is favourite for Ed Walker and William Buick at 5-4. Any thoughts on the Lowther, Adam Mills?
Yeah, actually, I do have one I've been waiting for in this. What price have you got for War Faith?
12-1.
12-1, yeah, that'll do. I'll take that. I actually wrote about War Faith back in last month. Brian Ellison wouldn't be a frequent visitor to La Teste de Bouche in the south of France. I think it was something like 830-mile round trip to go all the way down there for a listed race. But they went down there and they meant business because they sent Sumi on down there, paid his expenses and got him to come and ride. Won relatively easily. At the 2 furlong pole, it looked like she was in a bit of trouble. But then suddenly the penny dropped and she really lengthened in the final 2 furlongs, pulled away to win by 2.5 lengths, beat 4 winners behind her. You know, it wasn't the deepest listed race. It was probably a very clever piece of placement to go and get the black type for her CV, but I really like the way she hit the line. And I just think the market will massively underestimate her because she's won in the south of France rather than live on Sky. So for that reason, I thought I'd quite happily taken each way. And I see Tom Marquand's book, so that's quite interesting for me.
Yeah, Tom Marquand for the first time as well. Really intriguing booking. All right, War Fourth in the Lowther. Georgia, for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick just one. There's a few that I like their profiles. Royal Fixation, obviously Ed Walker won the race last year. Palace Piers doing really well with these stakes winners. A winner on debut, and she took a huge step forward to only go down a neck to Venetian Sun, who Carl Burks thinks highly of, in the Duchess of Cambridge. Was well behind that day. American Queen, I remember her at the Breeze Up Sales, and she was very, very small. And I think she would have made a lot more money on how good her times were. It's just that she was so small. The fact she's only had one run, I don't see that she's not a scopy filly. This is going to be her year. She was extremely straight. Obviously, it probably wasn't a very good race at all. Yeah, she's interesting. Argentina Tango, I mean, this would be her 8th start, and she's never been out the frame. She's such a fast filly from a fast family. I think she's the type of filly that would just always be a bit overpriced and just never let you down. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I'll go with Argentina Tango just because she would be a bigger price than what she should be.
Okay. George, for you?
Yeah, I certainly think Royal Fixation's most likely winner, particularly sort of like Argentina, best one to sort of use as the measuring stick here, and had her very well enough beat the last day, and you would expect her to carry on progressing because Argentine Tango is getting to the sort of, was it 6 runs now? But I think the bet is Argentine Tango. Having said that, like one or two of these might improve past her now, but like much as George has just said, you get value for your money with every single run. She's somehow keeps getting sent off silly prices, and yeah, just literally copy and paste what George said. She won't let you down. You'll get a run for your money, and you'll at least get your money back. If you're lucky, you might get an extra place, but I doubt it. So you might as well just back each way now before the price goes. Yeah, I've got no more to add from what George said. Very, very likeable, fast filly. Thought she'd done too much the last day, and somehow sort of got away with it. But yeah, like I said, it keeps hitting the frame. No reason why she wouldn't do it again here at 14-1 for some reason.
I'm going to take a chance on a horse that threw the race away the last day, but still managed to win. Dylan Cunha has come on Eileen. She was beaten 4.5 lengths by True Love and the Queen Mary on her debut, and then stepped forward from that to go and win a 6 furlong novice at Windsor. The second she was given a crack of the whip in the final furlong, she veered dangerously to the right, threw the race away, but still managed to go and cling on and win. And the runner-up has come out and won since as well. She's 25-1. She'll be ridden on the front end, and she gets David Egan for the first time. So hopefully she can just cling on. But I'll side with her in a very, very open race. Anybody have anything for the Goffs Million?
No.
Nope. Okay, we can leave that. Anthelia, I hope, wins it because I just really like that horse, and she was really, really good the other day. And Havana Hurricane is technically speaking Frank the Form by finishing third. Was he third? Yeah, Puerto Rico was in front of him at Glorious Goodwood. The Gimcrack Stakes, we've got an odds-on favourite for the Appleby team. William Buick, 6-4 on about Wise Approach. He was good the last day, but that's short. Do or do not is going to love this, isn't he? Tom Marquand rides. They've chosen to go for this race instead of go for the Acom 6 furlongs. He's been second to Zavateri, who beat him a length at Newmarket. Zavateri then goes on to win the Vintage Stakes at Glorious Goodwood. He's behind him in third place. Morris Dancer finishes second. He comes out and wins the Stonehenge Stakes over a mile doing handstands. That's a listed race. He's got the best form of the race. He's the best maiden in training, and he's surely going to run his race. 4-1 is a crazy price, I would say, about do or do not. I'll take him, Adam.
I can see that angle. He hasn't won a race, and that just puts me off enough to sort of think, at this stage of the season, would you not think he'd have picked something up? But although, to be fair, he has been running well. I agree, Wise Approach is just too short. I can't take 4-6. I'd rather, again, have a swing, and if I bump into a superstar, so be it. I thought Life Plan was the play here if Declan Carroll decides to declare the horse. Beat 3 previous winners at Thirsk. The second ran really well in a valuable sales race at Deauville last week, one of the Arcana series. Well on top that day. No idea how good he could be. He's by Cody Bear. I just really liked what he did when it knuckled down and became a bit. 3 horses with experience were just pushed aside with relative ease. So I'd quite happily take a chance on Life Plan because I think, again, because of his connections, he's going to be a much bigger price than he should be.
Georgia, for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've written the same 3 down here, really. I mean, I don't want to be boring and say Wise Approach, but I did really like his half-brother, Perfect Power. I thought he was a proper horse, and even though he probably didn't beat much in the Rose Bowl, he looked a class apart from Do or Do Not. I just don't know if he's going to break his down here. And Life Plan I also had written down, beating a fancied runner of Crisford's last time. So, yeah, I think Wise Approach will win, but I don't have much more to add than that, yeah.
Okay, and George?
I share Adam's concerns about the lack of a 1 by Do or Do Not's name. But I'm just looking at it like Wise Approach is just the wrong price here. Like, you got to race it like you're basically going off in finishing second to Charles Darwin, saying that's the best piece of form here. You got a Racing Post rating of 101 for that. Do or Do Not match that last time out at Goodwood, beating the length and 3/4 by Zavateri, and betted it the time before over 6 when beating a length by Zavateri, got a Racing Post rating of 104. You're looking at the only thing that Wise Approaches has recorded that's better than 104 is his win last time. He got a rating of 108 for winning a listed race. It was 11 to 10 for. That doesn't make any sense to me. I know he won by 4 lengths, but I don't see how he could possibly perform better there than he did when finishing second to Charles Darwin. So I would just have a small interest on Do or Do Not because it's hard to know what the rest are. Like I say, if you have a real strong fancy on one that's less exposed. But for me, I think the best horse on what they've shown so far in the race is Do or Do Not. And I'll be happy to take a chance on him at 4 to 1. If one improves past him, I'm not going to kick myself. That'd be the way I'd see this.
Yeah, the last time Wise Approach stepped foot in York, he was beaten. And in between that, he was a good winner on debut. He was a really good second to the fastest juvenile we've seen so far in Charles Darwin at Royal Ascot when he was drawn on the wrong side. And then he's gone on and won very impressively at Newbury. So maybe it was lack of experience. Maybe he was carrying the penalty and he just couldn't do it. But he was beaten 2 lengths. So I don't know if this is going to suit him. Whereas Do or Do Not, the form has already been franked. Zavateri is the best juvenile we've seen so far this season in terms of CV in the UK. He's been third.
Beat an Eck on his only run there.
Yeah, he has experience at the track. He was second to Gastad. In behind is Koppel, who's come out and won at Goodwood as well. Tejej, who beat him at York, and then he turned the form around with him in the Coventry. He's gone on to win a Group 3 in Deauville. It's all there for Do or Do Not to run a massive race. I think he's one of the best bets of the week at 4 to 1. He can't not be in the first 3 if he runs his race, and he might win.
Yeah. He's the best horse on what we've seen so far, which is always the thing with 2-year-olds is something could improve £10. But I wouldn't feel stupid for having that bet if something did improve past him. That's the thing. You got to go, is this bet going to make as much sense after the race as it did before? If he gets beat, am I still going to go, I made the right bet there? And with him, I'd say the answer is going to be yes.
James Willoughby
The only way I would think I've made the wrong bet is if Wise Approach beats him.
Yeah, James Willoughby had a line years ago that before you place a bet, if you imagine this horse gets beaten 10 lengths, how do you feel? If Do or Do Not gets beaten 10 lengths, I don't feel like an idiot because I'm pretty certain that 4 to 1 is a fair enough price and he's got the form in the book.
Yeah.
So if
something's gone amiss if he's beat 10 lengths. Something that you couldn't have predicted has gone wrong. So you go, well, take my lumps, it's horse racing.
I think he's one of the best bets of the week. Speaking of, what is your nap? What is your best bet of York? I think it's tricky, Adam.
No, I think it's easy. Trawlerman should be 4 to 7, and he's 5 to 4. Fill your boots.
Now, how are you going to feel when it?
How do you feel afterwards if Trawlerman gets beat 10 lengths?
Yeah, how are you going to feel when Illinois smashes him up?
Yeah.
There's no logic in Illinois bidding. He really should.
ton of it.
Yeah, he's going to take a lot of beating for sure. Okay, so Trollman's your nap?
Yeah, definitely. Trawlerman's the nap of the week.
Okay, Georgia, imagine your horse gets beaten 10 lengths. Do you still feel confident about it? If so, who is your nap?
I can't see Trawlerman getting beat 10 lengths, so I'll go for him.
Oh, wow, two.
Well.
Two for Trollman. Okay, all right. George Gorman, your nap.
I do think Trawlerman will win. I'm not having him in as my nap though.
I'm the only one who thinks Illinois can beat him over 2 miles, getting the. Okay, fair enough.
I think my best bet actually is going to be in the same race. It's going to be Coltrane each way. I think that's tremendous value. I think that's really good value. And if I was to have a next best, it would be Ascending in the Ebor.
Okay, well, my next best is London City, and he would have been my nap, only I've talked myself into Do or Do Not. So Do or Do Not is my nap at 4-1, and London City would be my next best. What is your next best, Adam?
My next best will be Gawan. I really, really like Gawan, and that shouldn't be 16-1.
Okay. Your next best, Georgia?
So I want to copy Adam again, but yeah, I do think he is, the way he won, he just looks so green, and yet he was just doing it off raw ability, and there'll be so much improvement. And I mean, Andrew Baldwin just can't do any wrong, can he?
Oh, it's unbelievable. And he's a Knight of Thunder, so that horse is almost certainly going to be improving significantly. 16-1 about the Newbury maiden winner, Gawan, for Andrew Baldwin. Don't forget Rochford Bridge. Maybe the Godolphin and Coolmore horses just pull clear of everything and make us all look silly, but 16-1 about Guan, 16-1 about Rochford Bridge, and you can hear the race live on TalkSport 2. That is it. Thank you very much for watching and listening to this episode of the Final Furlong podcast as we preview the best bets for York. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed talking to Adam, Georgia, and George, and if you enjoyed it too, likes, shares are much appreciated, and of course, hitting the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, or good old YouTube. Your subscribes for free are much appreciated, and follows as well. Georgia, are you in the Racing Plus Weekender this week?
Yeah, I've got an interview with William Haggis coming out. So, yeah, some strong opinions. It's going to be a spread, my first spread that's in there because it was so long. They let me have 2 pages, so that'd be good. And there's opinions on the city of York. He's a part of the passing committee, so I asked him about that, and there's all sorts in there. So hopefully it's interesting to people.
Was he one of the voices trying for years to get that race promoted to a Group 1?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's had one master win the 4A 3 times, and Sacred. He's had a few 7 furlong specialists. So, but it was just interesting. I don't want to give it away, but he said he'd have rather it go to Newbury, but they have no interest in hosting it in the Hungerford. So, yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff in there.
Okay, excellent stuff. Racing Plus Weekender featuring Georgia Cox will be out. Today is Monday, so it'll be out Tuesday evening. Make sure you're getting that.
Yeah.
Make sure you're supporting Georgia's work. She's excellent, and we really appreciate her time on the Final Furlong podcast as well. We'll be roping you back in again a few times before the flat season comes to an end. Do you have any interest in jumps racing, Georgia?
No, I'm not really. I'm just a flat girl.
So once the winter kicks in, it's all weather, Dubai, or nothing.
Yeah, although my column is actually, the title is supposed to be all-weather analyst. That is actually an all-weather column from the, so many good horses in the past few years have come from the all-weather. So that's how it started off. And then I just get a few thrown at me through the summer before the good meetings. So then in the winter, I'll be, all-weather analyst.
Okay, so you'll still get to hear, hopefully on the Final Furlong podcast, but also read the excellent content in the Weekender. And there's still horses from the all-weather go jumps racing, so we can always get your thoughts on those as well. How do you think this all-weather specialist is going to fare for the Mullins camp? Questions like that. Speaking of how our horse is going to fare with the transition, nobody is better at telling us how a horse is going to fare from France for jumps racing than Adam Mills. His phone has already been ringing several times today asking, what's the story with this horse? What's the story with that horse? Is there any particular horse headed to Willie Mullins, Gordon, Henry, Gavin, Paul, Mr. Skelton that is really leaping off the page at you right now?
Yeah, thanks for dropping this on me. Let me just bring up. So this year's recruits list will probably be out in September. I'm kind of fitting it in and working through it. But I'll give you one name so far. Like, I'm still trying to find any if Willie would be good enough to give me a call and just tell me what he's bought. It would make life a lot easier. But there is a horse called Lorette d'Estravalle, who's a 4-year-old gelding, come from Laganesta McCare team, will run in the famous Susanna Ritchie colours for Willie Mullins. He was second on his only start at Poe, and he's the one that I've spent looking for. And then he appeared in the HRI registrations last week. So he will be the first one that I write about when I eventually get round to it. But I'm sure we'll get a Final Furlong podcast special in there at some point.
Please God, hopefully. Lorette d'Estravalle?
Lorette d'Estravalle, yeah. We'll put it in the YouTube comments so people can have a look.
Excellent, because French pronunciation / spelling is something I still need to work on very much. But Adam is here to bail us out on that one. George, you are back with us on Thursday as we preview the best bets for Saturday and maybe a little bit beyond that.
Perhaps we'll have to talk about it because I'm off to Reading Festival at the weekend. So if it's an early enough recording, we'll make it work. So
George is not going to be on the podcast this week. He's off to the Reading Festival to have it large. Who's playing?
Yeah, Chapel Roan, Hosier, Limp Bizkit, Bring Me the Horizon, Travis Scott. Bit of a mix there. Real mix.
Okay.
But those aren't the ones I'm interested in. I'm more soft play, block party, the Kooks, that sort of thing will be the order of the weekend for me.
My Instagram feed is filled with friends of mine who were at, and just other people who were at the Oasis gig because they were lucky enough to get tickets. And now you're off to the Reading Festival. So, fantastic.
Do you know, I have 4 devices trying to get Oasis tickets this time last year. Didn't get any. The My Chemical Romance tickets came on sale for the UK leg of their tour on Friday. 5 devices open, no tickets.
No, it's impossible. I don't know how anybody does it. I really don't.
I use up all my luck on the podcast, Emmet, giving these good people winners.
That's what it is, George.
I'm the one that loses out, yeah.
You got to. Can somebody just... Anybody who made a fortune, and there were lots of you who did, off of George's excellent work in the preview, can somebody just sort him out with a VIP pass? Surely somebody watching this...
If anyone works at Wembley Stadium, please get in touch. There's not much I won't do for a ticket to My Chemical Romance.
I'm thinking of a social media promoter who listens to this show regularly. I'm thinking of a concert promoter who watches this show regularly and sends me messages. Quite a bit about it. I'm thinking of a broadcaster, a highly influential broadcaster who listens to this show quite a bit. Can any of you sort out George, Adam, Georgia, myself with VIP passes for whatever it is we want? Where's the gravy, baby? Where's the gravy train?
To explain the situation, I've got several My Chemical Romance tattoos, including 2 that include the artwork from this tour. So if I don't go on the tour, I'm going to look like a right mug.
Or you're going to be like that Arsenal fan who got the tattoo of Premier League champions only for...
Exactly. Yeah.
And on that bombshell, we're open to free stuff, basically. We're open to free stuff. We would like your likes, shares, and subscribes as well, but... yeah, blagging free stuff is absolutely something that every single podcaster should be doing. So we will absolutely take your free stuff. Thanks very much. From Adam Mills, Georgia Cox, George Gorman, and me, Emmet Kennedy, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. Best of luck for York. We'll talk to you again on Thursday. In the meantime, special with Gavin Lynch coming your way, right here on the Final Furlong podcast. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast, independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.